live on YouTube, and listen back on Spotify. This is the World of Football podcast.
Good evening. Sounded like Unai Emery then, as always. Welcome back to the World of Football podcast. It's been a while. There's a lot to talk about in there. Managerial sackings, managers losing their heads, cough off a certain man in Italy for Juventus, Mr. Allegri. And yeah, most importantly, look at the thumbnail. But we're going to have a packed one tonight, guys. Championship review, looking at Serie A. Xavi's been sacked, in comes Hansi Flick. Reece, he's going to smash it out the park again, isn't he? Got loads of rants coming in across Europe, what we love to see. As always, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to follow us on Spotify as well. And let's get on with it. Julio, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. There's absolutely nothing more to say. Yeah, good. I'm looking forward to this. Talk about the championship, especially. You know what? It's an end to the season, drama, final day, but I'm looking forward to reviewing the championship season.
100%. Great to see this legend back from his exams as well. And Mr. Reece Russell, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing not bad, thanks. It's nice to be returning to the side hobby for a while. I've not done YouTube in quite a while, to be honest. I've taken quite a break. Son of a bitch. I've taken a wee break, but I'm coming back. Like, all guns blazing this weekend. Not Friday though, because I'm out literally all day. But maybe Saturday or Sunday I'll be back with that. I've got some driving stuff to come, which is good. Doing a lot more of that. So yeah, I'm just buzzing. Stay the fuck away from that lightsaber, you wee four-legged cow.
Oh, that cat runs the podcast, honestly. But yes, I completely forgot what I was going to say because I'm just enjoying Masterpiece at the moment.
She can fucking shit herself at that.
I never thought I'd see Reece get clipped up for animal cruelty. Many other things,
really
yes, but not animals.
No,
It's not really animal cruelty. It's Bella being dealt with.
Make sure to put your better comments in the chat, guys. Let's make it the celebrity of the stream. But aside from that, like, comment, subscribe, and you know what? Let's get on with it. So, cough, cough, I predict the playoffs. There was a big bottler in the playoffs. But it's the championship, the review's here, the season's over. We've waited until after the playoffs. Let's get her on the screen. So, same format as pretty much the Premier League, ranking each team's season. Fantastic, right down to you. I have a feeling we're going to put some in you, but you know what? Backstage, a certain man was. We're going to get to our favourite last, the one that all three of us want to laugh at. There was a certain someone who has a certain something against a certain club. Single man, you reveal yourself. You're going to grade them.
Hello.
The master of chaos, the owner of the show, has done it.
The funny thing is, it's not the club that you're thinking of. It's not the Canaries. Because they're irrelevant to me anyway. But it's a shocker, put it that way. I've said my piece. I don't know what's going on.
I was going to say, lad, there was a lot of I couldn't tell if it was a suspenseful pause or if you actually.
No idea.
Just a random silence, but yeah,
you're not above suspenseful pauses, Reece. You're not above that.
Oh god, that club needs to be revealed, Reece.
Yeah,
nah, in due course.
The build-up is amazing.
It is genuinely the team that won the championship.
Well, that's just ruining the surprise. Odd.
If they don't watch the championship, they won't know. But it's just out of pure rage and frustration and idiocy of certain like parts of their fan base that have got like no entitlement at all for such a small club. Hurt your feelings? Cry me a river. Or buy me a Pepsi Max. If you can afford it. I mean,
essentially.
I mean, to be fair, there's more points in my Pepsi Max than what they'll be starting the season with. Not all your fans, to be fair, just some. Social media, we browse social media like for fan bases. Cardiff is funny. We'll get to them.
Oh boy, will we get to them with something I have to say about it. We'll leave that one till the end with the certain team we got to laugh at.
Yeah, I'll be honest though. When it comes to the Championship, I very rarely watch it. So my topics of discussion in terms of clubs that I will engage more in will be Cardiff for the banter, Coventry because they finished exactly where I thought they would, Leeds genuine banter, Ipswich because Ipswich were fantastic and I thought they'd do well, Southampton because it's obvious, and Norwich for the banter. Although I have got some comments about Middlesbrough.
Interesting.
That is genuinely it for me when it comes to the Championship. I'm not going to participate for the rest of the clubs. No offence to the league. No offence to the rest of the league. It'd be disingenuous for me to give my point of view on where clubs finished to then say what the expectations are. So I'm only sticking to the 6 or 7 that I've named out of 24. It's not a hatred of your clubs if any fans of that are watching. It's just I would be lying to myself and I'd be lying to the viewers, and I don't do that. So I gotta be myself. Gotta be honest.
To be fair, that's the best way to look at it at the end of the day.
Yep.
Like,
Everyone knows
I don't
watch. Yeah, everyone knows I don't watch Championship, so
yeah, got to be a realist at the end of the day. But starting off with where you had at Leicester, just with what they had this season, where would you put them, Reece?
For who?
For Leicester.
Right. I think by far they are definitely top of the pile. Because they are top of the pile because they were expected to finish in they weren't expected to be in the playoffs. They were expected to finish in the top 2. I think it's only fair that they should be in the top tier. But genuinely, I would also consider dropping them because they nearly bottled the league as well to Leeds, which is even funnier.
In fact, they nearly bottled a one-horse race as well.
You cannot go
not
into
even
a
getting
league
promoted.
Season. Yeah, you cannot go into a league season where you finish over 100 points and you nearly bottle an 18-point lead. Sorry, that is genuinely disgraceful. Like whether you play nice football or not, you cannot go into a league campaign, strong as you are, playing possession football like that, and then the league just disappears like that. You should be coasting the league by January, and they were, and then all of a sudden the league just dips. So to be honest, I'm putting them in second tier because there's only one club I'm putting in the top tier.
100%.
And
I agree with that as well.
Yeah, the one club I'm putting in the top tier actually deserve it because I think they were the most consistent team all season. Even though,
and I have a feeling I know exactly where you're going to go with that one.
Ipswich.
I'm in agreement.
Ipswich are in class tier A for me. And I'm going to give Kieran McKenna credit as well because loan players this season were huge. Like Omari Hutchinson was outstanding for them. But
he's insane.
With all the recent conversations about him being linked to Chelsea, linked to Brighton, linked to Man United, again, 2 years as a manager, despite all his years as a coach, he's still not qualified, in my opinion, to be worthy of those jobs. That's not an insult. That's just a fact of life. Well done to him for deciding, you know what, actually, I'm going to renew my contract. I'm going to do a new 4-year deal. fair play to him. That for me sums up consistency. That for me sums up courage to stick and do better and prove that he's qualified for the job later.
Yeah.
But also, for me, that one move alone, for me, confirms that Ipswich Town will stay up next season.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, when McKenna, he has all those offers on the table. It's a rarity that any club gets double promoted. But look at the managers who did it with both Norwich and also Southampton back 10 years ago. Look how long they lasted in top jobs.
Absolutely.
Because obviously they got moved on too quickly, faded out, and were rushed in. Whereas if McKenna takes the slow step, he could turn out to be a consistently class manager where, for example, I know I'm going to compare him with Big Sam, and that's a diabolical, you could say that's a diabolical take, but clubs are going to keep wanting him for his continued experience and that he's had more success than failure at the end of the day. But
it's still wild as well, like that Ipswich have done back-to-back promotions. That hasn't happened since Southampton, but it's the way that it's been done. Like,
yeah,
I thought Ipswich would finish in around the playoffs. I still thought they'd have a good season. I didn't think they'd get promoted, but I knew they'd have a good season anyway because I rated their work in the League One. But the fact that they finished second when Leeds and Southampton were far bigger favourites to do it. Let's be real, like the team that should have won the championship to be up based on squad, budget and the lot, it should have been Southampton on paper.
Yeah.
But a league isn't decided on paper, it's decided on players' performance and the manager's ability to get them to win. Hence why they won the playoffs. And we said on a show last month, all well and good for Leicester. Leicester have won the championship, but Leicester should have done the smarter thing. Leicester should have tried to win the playoff.
100%. Because at the end of the day, you get more money or winning the play, and Leicester, considering their financial situation at the moment, and just the complete capitulation of the way they followed FFP, it would have been better for them because I know it is ridiculous how you get more money out of the playoffs than winning the league, but it would have benefited them better.
Yeah, you should get more money for winning the league, and it's generally going to benefit Southampton more because now Southampton can invest a little bit more in Premier League quality players.
Yeah,
Southampton will be interesting next season. I think Southampton will still survive. I think two of the three promoted clubs are staying up. I think it'll be an interesting relegation battle.
Julio, do you have anything to add about those two?
Well, I mean, I can't disagree with what Reece said about Ipswich. I think you have to put them up there. On Leicester, I can't disagree with that either. You know, I mean, being that far ahead, top of the league, and then deciding it was the equivalent. You know that scene from The Incredibles when Dash is doing that race at school on Sports Day, and they're telling him, no, slow down, make it close. It was almost like Leicester were trying to do that for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I almost felt like they decided, actually, you know what, we're gonna get promoted, but then all this FFP stuff and points deductions coming out. Let's win the playoffs so we got more money. And then they were like, oh no, actually this is really close. Let's just. It just looked very much like.
Because the thing is, they fully well knew that they were going to boss in the playoffs, considering their form.
Yeah, that's the thing with the playoffs.
Leicester generally did their best Newcastle and Celtic impersonations, in my opinion. Keep going, Julio, but that's what I think. They did their best impressions of them.
Yeah, that's fair enough for you to say. But I can't disagree with what he said. I think arguably the teams that came down, especially Leicester and Southampton, you could have argued that they should have walked this league. I know that sounds like a lot with new managers and a lot of change happening last summer for both clubs. But you know, it was a very good Leicester side. It shouldn't have bottled the lead the way they did.
Absolutely not.
I don't know what that could have been put down to, whether it was the players, whether it was just They were, getting very complacent. I don't know if that was a Maresca thing. And you have to, if it's a manager thing, I think only time will tell in the future with the way his career has gone. It will go forwards. It's off to Chelsea now,
Have you noticed
obviously.
that?
I wonder if we'll see that.
Have you noticed
but
that about Leicester's? Have you noticed that about Chelsea tweets lately about Maresca? And, like, Chelsea fans tweeting what's Leicester fans' opinions on Maresca, and all they keep saying is good manager, but he's literally got no plan B.
Yeah.
And
Because,
it
I mean,
makes
look
me
at the amount of
wonder-
games this season where Leicester have gone behind and he just keeps playing the same system. Like, I can hardly remember any game where something slipped through the net and Leicester have come back, pretty much. And the only way they've done it, I think, we were one of the examples, was quality and mistakes got them over the line from us. And throughout the
Exactly.
season, just like some of the whole matches, and I think they lost to Plymouth as well. It was so poor in some. And
there
I
were
could
some
literally go on
poor defeats,
tomorrow
especially
morning,
towards
yeah,
the end.
about just how bad they were. Like, that second
But-
half of the season
yeah.
was one of the biggest collapses ever.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, like I said, we'll finish up on Leicester here, at least for me, where I can't disagree with what Reece said. I think you have to put them in B. I don't think they warrant A, because whilst they achieved what they probably set out to achieve, they didn't look convincing by the end in doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They had such a huge lead, and then they decided, "Yay, we did it! Right, let's take our foot off the gas," and then they slowed right down, and everyone caught up. So, yeah.
100%. Anyway, Julio, I'm going to give the floor to you.
Okay. Reece, could you do me a favor? Could you remind me what clubs you said you knew? I don't want to pick any that you knew. Do you know what I mean?
Cardiff, Coventry, Leeds, Middlesbrough, Norwich. That, and then obviously the other two we've just done.
Hang on. Cardiff, Coventry, Leeds, Borough. I might have missed a couple.
Norwich.
Any others?
Are you going to put Rotherham
Southampton.
in there as well,
Southampton.
Reece?
Southampton as well. Rotherham? Not as much. Southampton definitely. Rotherham not as much. Birmingham, Birmingham, I only have one comment for them. I only have one thing to say about them. That's it, and it'll take me 30 seconds.
We'll add Birmingham to Reece as well.
No worries.
But feel free to overrule me on certain things, lads. Honestly, if you think I'm a little bit harsh, then by all means, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm not compromised. So
Yeah.
Feel free to say maybe I get your point, but maybe you're a bit too low. Maybe put up a little bit. By all means, overrule me.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. We've all got our opinions on this show. Do you know what I mean? But I don't want to start just, because I watch the Championship a little more than you do. That's not a criticism or
by a
anything.
mile.
But
By a mile.
do you know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's I don't.
At the
wanna
end of the
start
day, it's
saying the obvious
interpretation,
ones
isn't
to
it?
you.
I prefer
That's the thing
top
you've got to
flight.
look at.
I prefer top flight continental football. That's just me.
Hmm.
I've got nothing against
Right.
the Championship. I just prefer other leagues by a landslide.
So before I say one of them, can I just ask, how are we ranking these exactly?
It's basically the
Is
season
it
that they
based on
had, yeah.
objectives, or is it based on, because a couple of clubs will have started horrendously and then eventually met their goal as the season went on, but it's, where would you put, it's that kind of perception almost.
Yeah, so it's basically that. So, for example, Leicester, they were expected to go up on record points with the amount of points all they had, but obviously they had the bottling. Still a good season because they got promoted. However, not exactly lighting up trees, so they have to drop a little
but
bit.
if I was to say Sheffield Wednesday, for example, because
Yeah,
given the shit show and a half they were at the start of the season and the
Oh my
way
God,
it just
yeah.
progressed all through the season, it was a disaster season for them, but they stayed up. But contextually, when you look at it, it was horrendous.
and on top of that as
a
well,
manager came
Danny
in and-
Roll had them absolutely balling as well at the end.
So a manager came in and just went, right, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to stay up, and they did.
Yeah.
But I don't know, how would I rank them here.
So really, at the end of the day, their objective was to stay up. So
That's what I mean,
automatically
because
it's gonna
I think
be up high.
you'd think, wouldn't you? But I would contest that only because of the fact of how poor they were for a lot of the season, and then just the absolute circus around
Chancery
them.
and stuff.
Exactly.
Because, like, at the end of the day with Sheffield Wednesday, like, I'm pretty sure it took them 12 games to get a point and end up finishing upper lower mid-table.
They finished. When did it? They finished 20th.
Which for a team in turmoil is very good.
Yeah, but no, but think about it. They came up, they sacked down more mere days later, and then they brought in Cisco, and everyone was like, this screams sacked by December, and they're going down. And it was looking like that. And then Roll comes in, and he manages to keep them up, which was quite surprising. But I don't know. I just... that's what I mean. Like, based on objective, you'd put them in B, but I'd hate to put them in B based on the circus around them. So I'm just trying to really gauge, because for the bottom clubs, for me, it's more difficult to say kudos, you stayed up like you were meant to when you were poor all season. It's like praising someone for losing all the time. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just trying to gauge with you both and almost set a standard and make it easier for the rest of us during the tier list, how it would be to rank them.
100%. So we're like Sheffield Wednesday. For me, it's going to be a C, because another aspect that I'm taking from them is the foundations that have been laid for next season. So at the end of the day, for an owner who doesn't have a clue what they're doing, they got a stable manager in. He's just offered him a new contract early.
How did they find him? They kind of just conjured him out of thin air. They kind of just conjured ball knowledge out of thin air. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. I don't get how they found him either. Saying that, where is he actually? What is his history?
Because I'm not being funny, this kind of appointment kind of screamed like the sort of appointment Huddersfield would have made years ago.
Yeah. Saying that, this is he's an ex RB Leipzig, Southampton, and Bayern Munich assistant.
So he's been an assistant at different clubs.
Yeah, and a coach.
Hasenhüttl, Rose, and Rangnick. I think he worked under
I can't lie.
I think he worked under Nagelsmann briefly.
Do you know what's the interesting thing? If he has another good year, and if Leeds sack Farke eventually, I wonder, with the new Red Bull deal going in with Leeds, I wonder if he could be a potential future Leeds appointment.
You very well could.
They've gone down that kind of route before, with Jesse Marsh.
Yeah, that was a disaster.
It was a disaster, yeah, but they were trying to go through. I think they've been trying to go down that kind of Red Bull route for a little bit.
Yeah. At
least in theory. So I wonder if Roll keeps balling, he might be. I mean, Farke is a fraud. We all said it.
We'll get to him.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I think I'd put Sheffield Wednesday in D personally, because it's very much in the middle, where it's very much like a yes, you stayed up, congrats. But let's be honest, you could have easily gone down.
I'm going to back that, because another thing that you got to look at is he could have got the ground running a bit quicker. I know that, as you said, with the issues, but I mean, at the end of the day, they could have finished so much higher and had a bit more momentum. But yeah, they're one I'm going to be watching next season, let's just say. But I'm going to take another one off your guys' hands. Huddersfield, for me, they're going straight into F. I mean, they weren't expected to pull up threes this season. Warnock walked very quickly after they refused to back him. Squad's full of League One sludge. Two managers straight after Neil Warnock. Darren Moore gets sacked. I can't even remember their last manager's name. He was that bad. He gets sacked as well. Disastrous season, and they're going to struggle in League One with Aguiz Ruon's Card Factory as their owner. So let's head about Huddersfield.
You're not going to like this, mate, but I think it's the truth. Cardiff City, you. Sorry, mate. You're not going to like that,
That's
but
interesting.
I want to hear this thought process, because I would disagree.
Cardiff City for me, genuinely bottom tier. And this is not because I dislike your club. I don't. It's because I actually care about what I'm about to say. The reason I've got Cardiff City in bottom tier is for one, the fact that I was proven right in January.
Hang on, let me show you something.
For fuck's sake.
Right, we'll keep this up just for this segment here.
So, for me, Cardiff is in the bottom tier. One, because of the fact is that you ended up spending money, which people said you didn't have. I said you had money. It proves it with the £2 million spent on fucking David Turnbull. Like, when you look at the issues with Bullet, however you bloody pronounce his name, like, good manager though, but still the issues with him where he's not being given enough assurances going into the season. The squad was inconsistent. They were dealing with the fans hurling abuse at them because they represent they're playing under an ownership that's just not good for the club. The inconsistency in big matches, the inconsistency in derby matches,
Yeah,
the lesser games as well. You were really weak, and it also contributes as well that your fan base at times has been an absolute joke. You're supposed to be sticking up for these players, not tarnishing them. It's not their fault they're playing for Vincent Tan.
exactly.
Like, Vincent Tan is the owner who doesn't give a shit about your club, but Vincent Tan also doesn't determine how the players play. But when you look at certain games that you should have been more manageable to win based on expectation, you should have been a whole lot higher in the league, in my opinion. You weren't. And I think when you look at it, it's just embarrassing. And I know that sounds harsh to say that your club should be in the bottom tier, but when you're that embarrassing, I'd say the same for my own club. Like, it's just ridiculous how far it went for you. And it says a lot that Bulak I don't think he's going to be your manager next year. The way things are going, I wouldn't be surprised because it's been an absolute joke for him as well. I feel sorry for him. I really do.
And me. Because at the end of the day, Dalman's often been allowed to hold talks with him from Vincent Tan, but I don't know what it is, but Vincent Tan is still refusing to sign off the contract because apparently Bullet signed a 2-year deal with a year to extend, but Tan doesn't want to do it because he just wants short-term managerial solutions. He's worried because he gave McCarthy a 2-year deal.
I think he doesn't want to do it is because Bulak got something out of Vincent Tan that no one else has done in recent years. He got money.
Yeah.
Tan doesn't like that.
Yeah, I think he's came across as nemesis. Bulak is his kryptonite.
Another thing he's done as well is he's actually exposed it behind the scenes.
Massively.
With where he said that
I might put him in F then for that.
Coaching squad and everything is abysmal.
So I'm tempted, just because he exposed the issues, that it's because he listens to me. I'm tempted to put them in F, but it's just the way that he's performed all season. I just can't. You're one of the worst teams in the league, and it's through no fault really, like from the fans, but the fans are contributing to it, whether they want to admit it or not, because of the actions going into games. Do it before the games, do it after the games. Don't do it during the games. Not like that, especially to the players. Like, the players need your support for 90 minutes, especially if it's a game against Swansea and you aren't even playing well.
Yeah.
Or a game against bloody Bristol City where you get ruined. You were awful against both teams. Even you'll admit that yourself, you were genuinely awful. Like, I was surprised you were that bad. I'll say one further. These were even worse against Birmingham. And they're the worst team in the league, in my opinion.
Yep.
We did say this would happen. I did say this. I said, I think Cardiff were on a good run. I said, watch them lose to Birmingham on Wednesday or whenever, and they did lose to Birmingham on Wednesday.
Yeah, we got battered.
Exactly. You just got humped. Didn't you not lose 5-0 at one point this season as well? You conceded 5 to Sunday.
Rotherham.
Yeah, we conceded 5 to Rotherham, one of the worst championship sides ever.
Who the fuck concedes 5 to Rotherham?
I know.
Like Jesus, that sums it up. Like, that is awful, painful. But Cardiff City, category you for unfucking believable.
I mean, the thing is with especially the fan base as well, I'm going to be called hypocritical here because, especially after some of my comments throughout the season, I think Prime One was when I literally said after the South Wales Derby game, I don't want to ever see Josh Bowler in a Cardiff City shirt again. And then in the match directly after, I can't remember exactly who he played. I remember when he got. I think it was Watford. Who was it? Bowler and one other. I can't remember who it was. Jeju got cheers when they got substituted.
Okay, might not have been Watford then. Might not have been. I was thinking, didn't he score a really good goal against Watford this season?
That was the way. God, that way.
Was it not Albion? Was it not against Albion? I'm not sure. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, I wasn't at the West Brom match. I think that was it last year. But it happens so much where if a player doesn't play well and they get substituted, the fans will just cheer them when they get subbed. And it's happened for years. And another one as well is just the constant... the thing is, you've got to give players scrutiny. But what happens with us is it's not scrutiny, it's abuse.
Yep.
And unlike other clubs where it happens on Twitter, this happens during the games.
Like you can see certain clubs, like ours, for example, will go after the owners. Unfortunately, there's been some fans recently at games that have been clipped for giving their abuse to players before a match, like during their pre-warm-ups and that. But I think is wrong. Like there's some players in our team I genuinely don't like, but I'm not going to abuse them. I just think they're shit. But I literally see, and I've seen it with you because we look at Cardiff Twitter all the time, and it's genuinely, it makes me laugh. Like it's good for a banter situation, but when you see Cardiff fans literally being clipped on YouTube abusing your players, and I'm like, you wonder why you're not winning matches? Like, fucking hell. I said it to you, 6 months ago? These players every single one of your players are purple patch because they rely on confidence. These players that you have got won't, like, apart from Turnbull, he ain't a purple patch. He's actually a genuinely good player.
Yeah.
They're all purple patch because they rely on confidence, and you cannot get any confidence even if you're drawing a game at half time and you're getting absolutely abused. Like, if I was a Cardiff City player, I'm not even joking, I would rather play in an empty stadium than be listening to your fans. I would rather, as if it was COVID, I'd rather have an empty stadium if I'm a Cardiff fan.
This is the thing that's funny as well. During COVID, we actually finished in the playoffs.
Says it all. Your fans.
Yeah. Was that under Neil Harris?
That was under Neil Harris, yeah. And that was when we absolutely destroyed Marcelo Bielsa's Leeds.
Which was
on the very first game.
I think that says a lot.
Came down though?
Yeah.
Directly after, yeah.
And then the year after as well, we had a really good start. And then just, McCarthy happens.
I think it says a lot, though, that when you look at your team, and there's like, to be fair, like every fan base, there's some good fans and there's some clowns, but you can definitely see at your games now, it's not a minority anymore. It's a vast majority where it's literally abuse.
Yeah.
Like it's getting to the level where I can genuinely see in the next few years at Cardiff games, I can genuinely see maybe a whole lot more police involvement than it necessarily needs. Like I think it's on that level of like ridiculous now that it genuinely feels shocking. It's like shocking is an understatement. Like that's the irony. It's an understatement, and I still used it because it should be like that. All the energy should be before games, after games, during half time. Go after your owner because your owner is horrible to your club. But between 0 and 45 in injury time and 45 to 90 plus injury time, you stand by your players. You can boo them if they're being bad. Like on the field, you can boo them, but you can't abuse them. You know the way that I've seen all season. You can't do that. That's too far. And social media doesn't help. Like social media as well. Like for every fan, nowadays. Every fan base now, social media is the vitriol. It's just disgusting.
Yeah, it's made it far worse than obviously what it used to be. But yeah, we got a long summer ahead of us, especially if this nonsense doesn't get sorted off the pitch with the Bullet contract. Because as far as I'm concerned, if Bullet ends up going, it's going to be another cheap option. Probably be Darren Pearce at the end of the day. Yes, he's got a lady's name. If anyone remembers that song, you'll know exactly what I mean, Cardiff City fans. But he'll probably end up coming in. He'll end up getting sacked, and we'll just completely capitulate at the bottom. So it's got to be sorted now. It's an absolute joke. But yeah, Julio, got any more to add, or should we chuck another one on the board?
I slightly disagree with Cardiff being in you only because of where they finished, and I agree with Reece's sentiment about like it's not been consistent.
Yeah,
You've had some really good purple patch moments, and then you've had some really bad moments. But realistically, we all thought Cardiff wouldn't finish higher than 17th the start of last season. I remember what it was like last summer.
Cardiff
It was
relegated.
bad. Exactly.
yeah.
And I think the fact that they managed to finish where they did, I think was an achievement in itself. So I think you'd probably put them E or F on that alone. Yes, there is a circus around the club, but I'm not being funny. They still finish where they finished.
Yeah.
Like, put some respect on Bullet's name. They finished above expectations. They're not disaster. They would be disaster if we expected them to finish 10th and they finished 18th, like the hipster lot down by the Vale of Glamorgan and all that shit.
Hello, Simon Jordan.
But realistically, Cardiff didn't do that. The circus we expected. They didn't disappoint with the circus. We knew that was happening. Reece was right. Great. Reece was right about the money. Fair enough. Kudos to Reece.
Always
But
am.
realistically, they spent the money. They maintained a mid-table-ish position. They got 12th. There was one point where they weren't that far out of the playoffs. I know form and everything.
Yeah,
take
if our
you in
form
there.
didn't tail off at the end of the season, we probably could have pushed in there.
Exactly. So I think when you look at how the season went, I don't think it's quite a U. The disaster, the circus was always going to happen.
Yeah.
No matter whether you finished playoffs or 24th. That was always going to happen. Obviously, Reece was right about the money. Fair enough. But they exceeded expectations, in my opinion, especially with the players they had. Yes, they actually, in terms of caliber of players and recruitment, they recruited quite highly. They recruited better than I expected. I didn't expect them to get a goalkeeper on a free transfer from the Premier League, albeit third choice. But I honestly thought they were going to somehow get Danny Ward from Leicester, which would have been a worse signing. Which would have been a worse signing than what they got. Right? Granted, they bought a striker that couldn't score for shit. Okay, but they got a striker
He scored
in the end.
2 goals in 2 years.
You see my point?
Yeah.
Right? You could have
Most
stuck
Cardiff City
me up.
signing ever.
You could have stuck fat me from uni a couple of years ago up front. I guarantee you I could have scored more goals.
100%.
So, yeah, I just wouldn't put them in you on that. I think the pitch, they did better than expected.
For me, if we just go based on the pitch performance, I'd probably stick us in C or B. But when you take it as a whole, maximum E by a mile. Because I can't.
I think if anything, drop them
them
to an F because Reece was right about the money.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, when Tan said there's no investment for years, that's another lie that's come from board level. So that down we go, quite frankly.
Yeah, guys, we've got no money. Don't worry about that bag over there. That's not. Don't worry about the dollar sign on the bag. That's not money.
But at the end of the day, another thing you've got to look at with the no money and he has spent is the fact that we're still 2 million in profit since when was it? The season we came down from the Premier League, so that would have been 5 years. That's still really poor though. Yeah. We're staying in F.
I'll gladly say if I said that the best would be an F, but I still went with you just because I factored everything into my whole opinion.
Yeah.
In my analysis, it's just a
To be fair, that's completely fair.
joke. Just an absolute joke.
And before Reece puts another team in you, Julio.
Oh, me next.
Yes.
Great. I'll stop looking at my TikTok for a moment. Let's have a look. Is it too much to put Sunderland in you?
Based on expectation, no. And the fact it's been 100 days since they've had a manager.
Sunderland, great season last season.
Mm-hmm.
Coming into this season, you think, without Ahmad, who was a very good player in that team last year, I didn't think they would finish. I didn't think it would be as bad as it was. They finished 16th. I thought they would finish about 10th this season, 9th, 10th.
Yeah.
Bordering on playoffs maybe, but some performances during the season wouldn't be good enough, and then they'd tail off during the end of the season. I didn't foresee Mowbray being sacked, and he was. And whilst it was a shock to me at the time, I do remember seeing stuff about people saying no plan B maybe is the right choice. But I think it wasn't. They were either in the playoffs or just outside the playoffs when he was sacked. I think they were 7th. Then Mickey Beale comes in.
I'm sorry, but who appoints Michael Beale in
Why
2024? Rangers
Why
job?
did you appoint him? I don't understand. And then they sacked him, 2 months later? Maybe not even that.
A month and a half, I think it was.
Disaster. And then they've had no manager for the rest of the season. And then they just really fell off. You know what? Did they lose by 5 or even 6 at home to Blackburn at one point this season? Yeah, it's been a disaster season for Sunderland. And maybe it's because I'm more invested in the Premier League than the Championship, but I feel like no one's talking enough about how much of a disaster Sunderland were this season. I know it's very easy to laugh at Sunderland, and I'm not being funny. The most I've laughed at Sunderland this season is when they released season 3 of The Till I Die, and I saw the car salesman get sacked in episode 1.
Oh,
I think
incredible.
It was 20 minutes in, and I saw Mr. Johnson getting sacked.
And the best thing is, that's not even the funniest thing. The most Sunderland thing that's happened this year. Who remembers when they literally rolled out the red, well, you could say the black carpet for Newcastle?
Oh my God.
Away the lads all in the away end. Carlin advertising, black and white.
That was a little embarrassing, I can't lie.
Sunderland's a massive club.
But yeah, I just think Sunderland should have at least maintained stability this season. That's what the minimum aim should have been. Either push on if you can, maintain another playoffs position, or mid-table championship. Because you see second season syndrome happen all the time. Do you know what I mean? If
100%.
Mowbray had them in 17th at Christmas, I would have understood, because we've seen that time and time again. But realistically, it wasn't that bad to sack him. But if a decision was to be made, one, Mick Beale was never the right choice.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder maybe Mick Beale wasn't even the first or second or third or fourth or fifth choice, and they stumbled upon him because everyone else was in jobs, like the Will Stills of the management world.
I don't know why, but Will Still just screams of managing Sunderland into next season.
It's a very hipster, I want to say hipster appointment. I don't know if that would be the right word, but it's a very hipster appointment. And given that he's left his role, then do you know what I mean? It's very much the links have been there. And Sunderland in the last few years have always been about that. Let's get a bigger name than what we are, maybe.
And then obviously let's just pray that it works. Like they did the same for Mick Beale. Rangers, pains me to say it, absolutely massive club. Hiring, had expertise under Steven Gerrard, but when he's a manager himself, he's absolutely hopeless.
Flopped.
Absolutely flopped.
A good couple of months at QPR. Ditched them the second chance he got because he wouldn't go to Wolves. And it's just been all downhill from there. And I think what if there's anything we've learned this season, it's that
Yeah.
if you're a manager going into a club where there is either mixed reviews about the manager being sacked, or everyone hated the fact the manager being sacked, you are destined to fail no matter what. We saw that
100%.
with Birmingham, and I think to an extent we saw that with Sunderland in the sense of nobody wanted Beale. So even the people who wanted Mowbray sacked, okay, Mowbray was sacked. They saw Mick Beale being rolled out in the press conference, like, this is the new Sunderland manager. No one was moved by that appointment.
In fact, they were probably all just your Jeremy Clarkson smoke face thinking, oh, here we go, he's going to be sacked in a month's time. Sunderland right down the table, capitulation, back to them memes of how they were in the Premier League on that season.
No, do you know what? It screams of that one scene from the In-Betweeners when I think Simon goes, oh shit, and then Mr. Gilbert goes, shit indeed.
Yes.
Like, that's literally what it was with Sunderland. When Mick Beale was rolled up, like, oh shit indeed.
Yeah.
That's the episode where they get caught for being truant.
That's the one, yeah. And episode 2, I think it is.
Where Simon pretends to be his mum, and it's the worst
Yeah.
accent of all time. Genuinely, like, it was just so funny. Oh shit indeed. But although, to be fair, there wasn't the weirdest scene from that entire series. From that first series alone, there wasn't the weirdest.
There were plenty of weirder
There were
scenes.
plenty.
That was a funny, like, sound one. There were plenty of others that would have got them cancelled today.
The weirdest one was definitely the fashion show.
Oh my god.
Like the
How
scene,
do
The
you not
kid
feel
in the
that, though?
wheelchair just screaming all the time.
it's the scene.
And
it's
just
the scene,
simping.
obviously- It's no. It's the scene after. Obviously, it's the scene obviously after he does his catwalk for the second time, and he says, "What is the exact words?"
Honestly, it wasn't a joke. That was the best one.
Yeah, but it's the words that Mr. Gilbert says when he's like, and then there's nothing funny about it when you find out in my office. And he's talking about bollocks, and then obviously Will's going,
It's a bit dodgy, sir.
exactly. It's a bit dodgy, sir. And it's like, no, it wasn't.
No, I just love that scene where Will goes, where is it? Like, literally, like, one of the opening, like, in the opening 5 minutes was like, Mr. Gilbert, you seem like an intelligent man. Oh, I seem intelligent.
Just the patronization. It's just a pat amigo. Do you think these badges are what we should be wearing? And you're just like, oh yes.
Oh yes, you'll have to make the school debate in society if you disagree, but you'll have to start one first.
To be fair, the best Mr. Gilbert scene will always be the scene when he finds out that his mum is dating Gilbert.
Oh my god, the Australia.
God.
Is that the Australia film?
Yeah, that's the second movie, isn't it?
And when they're just taking the piss out of him, when he hangs him behind, he will smash her, he'll crush her. And then you've just got the comment at the very end when you go back to the airport, and all you see is Will with like the worst looking long hair dreadlocks of all time. He just turns around and runs to try to get back on the plane. Although the first film plane scene, airport scene, is funny when Neil's with that lassie he finds, and then he sees the woman that he takes the piss out of, that he's supposed to be dating. He's like, oh, I broke up with her, and she's at the airport.
Oh my
Is
god.
it? Let's go this way. Post In-Betweeners moment, but it's definitely good that we can bring it to relevancy, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, that show's never dying.
But it's a
honestly.
relevant meme, and to be honest, it's accurate with Sunderland. And it's just been a crap season. They really need to get a grip this summer.
Yeah.
Get the right man in. Because they were heading the right way. They really were for a moment.
I think it's I've got another In-Betweeners reference I can actually use for Mick Beale. It's the scene where, funnily enough, in the episode where Charlotte calls him a nasty little virgin, because what he speaks. Obviously, it's Wolf when he takes the piss because he thinks he's not 17 because he looks
You're
He
You're
looks
17. You look about 30.
Exactly, but he's got
Oh,
the response. But like Mick Beale is literally just like he's like a teenager, looks just like an adult look. He's literally just an immature little human. Like that is Mick Beale.
Oh, I've just remembered something. Do you remember there was that point in the season when it was rumored that Mick Beale was behind like a Twitter account, giving himself his own PR?
That was real
Yeah.
as well.
That was genuine. That was Beale on wheels. Like,
Do you know what? I really hope he gets a job next season so I can reuse my Beale or no Beale meme.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But yeah, Sunderland are in disaster. Is it Reece next?
Yes, Reece, you fancy putting another one in you?
Sounds a bit dodgy, Nathan.
And you. Oh,
That does sound. That's like a Gilbert reference again.
Reese's "If in doubt, ram it out" was worse from last week. I will
Oh
point
my
out.
god.
that was goated. Like that was goated for the Derby reference. I'm not sure if it's actually no, it is Rotherham.
Yay, fatty fist pumps, albeit for like one game.
Just awful. Like there's no words. I'm actually going to put another one in there. This might shock you, lads.
Mhm.
I'm actually going to put Middlesbrough in there.
Really?
Complete U-turn from last season under Carrick.
The thing I
first
will
season-
give Borough to just a little bit of defence is the amount of outgoings in the summer and the fact that
They lost a lot of
what's his
key
name?
players.
Yes, Steve Gibson just
So they
wasn't able
changed
to
how they
back
were
him.
this season.
Even so, they had, even with lesser quality players that they had, despite the key players they had the first season, they were still playing good football with those lesser quality players. Fast forward, they do nothing, and they're absolutely shocking.
They finished
Carrick-
8th, to be honest. They're only
I
4
know they
points off
finished 8th,
playoffs.
but they finished 8th, but they generally didn't look like a team fighting for playoffs. You know what I mean? Like they looked so far off. And I think that says a lot. Like I think Preston were far better in that way.
To
Like,
be
they
fair, I'd be inclined to agree with the start of the season they had. But I mean, all Preston fans who had to go, what was it,
They went quite well without scoring or something, wasn't
700
it?
minutes without scoring? I mean, that just screams Preston, though. But I think with Borough, I just can't see them as bad as like Huddersfield and Cardiff.
No.
I think they get sandwiched in that E bracket, if you guys agree.
Yeah, that's where I put them because even obviously 8th, they were I think bottom 3 at one point. They were 12th at one point. They were 4th or 5th at one point. Do you know what I mean? Then they fell out again. Very inconsistent season. I do agree with Reese's points, but I just don't think they were that much of a disaster.
Considering
Especially
the
since when you
performances,
look at the
they got
others.
that really rubbish. When you look at performances, they should have been so much better. Like it's shocking that even I know it's you're being harsh on a team that finished 8th, but they were in the same position or thereabouts last year, but they were playing far better football, even with players that just weren't good. Like you can't do something like that. That's awful.
100%.
Was it more safe football, do you reckon, this season? I didn't see enough of Middlesbrough.
I think it was, because I think with Carrick especially trying to get these sort of lesser quality players, well, Lati Lath was
became
absolutely
more
incredible.
substance over style, more results over. Yeah.
And that's at the end of the day, if you need to do it in the
as well.
championship, you've got to do it. And sadly for Borough, that's how I saw it this season.
Like there was one point where they were quite low in the bottom half after the start they had. And I think from then Carrick must have gone results.
He just betrayed everything. I'll say this though, I'll gladly concede Middlesbrough and E as long as Birmingham go in the bottom tier.
That's the one I was
going
expecting you to
anywhere
put
else.
in there.
Because that is
Birmingham, if
that's
anything,
a
Birmingham
disgrace.
need that as their own tier, if anything. What a horrendous.
It's not even
season.
horrendous. It's the fact that they at one point they were 6th in the league under Ustaz, who was playing effective football for the Championship to actually get out. They would have got. I actually think if Birmingham didn't sack John Eustace, they would have won the playoffs.
I think they would have stayed there all season as well. But this is
in
what annoys me with Birmingham as well, is A, with what they did in the summer, and B, look at the squad they have.
I know.
It is very good, but I'm sorry, the arrogance of their American owners to bring in Wayne Rooney, a disaster of a coach, get sacked. Along comes Gary Rowett, who they binned off a few years ago.
Yeah, I feel bad for John.
Was it 4 managers this season? They had Mowbray in there for a bit, and then he was like ridiculous.
Yeah,
he was ill, wasn't he? Though, like Mowbray.
Yeah, he was. He was.
Yeah. But like the only two you can't really fault is Mowbray and Eustace. But Eustace was doing exactly what he wanted, so I don't understand why you'd sack him. But the absolute hell that is Plymouth next year.
Oh my God. Ian Foster, what an absolute disaster.
This is not going to go well. But yeah, Birmingham might be the last team to go new. Maybe, I don't know, but I need to start finding some C clubs.
Yeah. I'd even say quite a bold thing. How about if we move every single team up bar Birmingham? So like Sheffield Wednesday to C, Middlesbrough to D. And from there. Or do they not? Do you reckon?
No, I think you leave it as it is. I think that we've just put them in there, not as in like an order, because you can't tell me Birmingham had. Well, actually, you can't tell me. Well, actually, no. To be fair, Birmingham were the worst of the worst, but
yeah,
we've just put them in there. It's no order in ranking in terms of Sunderland, Rotherham, Birmingham. I mean, it makes kind of sense, but at the same time,
no particular order is much better. To be fair,
yeah. So we're just putting them in there, but realistically, it's a disaster either way for Birmingham. It's horrendous.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think Blackburn also go into D.
So that's a good shout, actually.
I think they're right in the middle. They weren't great. They weren't shit. They were actually okay all season. I don't think they had a real expectation. I thought they would have done a little bit better, maybe personally, but they were where they were. I think when you look based on their squad, I think there's no harsh reality.
For me, Blackburn were carried by Sammy Schmodix. If he leaves in the summer, they're getting relegated. Straight up.
I think that's fair to say.
I think the fact that they lost Wharton in January didn't help to the fact they lost Brereton Diaz last summer as well.
Definitely
that was the big one.
Wharton was it's not Schmodix. Wharton's their last good asset.
Yeah.
But unlike Vincent Tan, who's keeping it under lock and key, it's well known that the Venkies, another diabolical owner, have absolutely no money.
And yet they still cannot seem to sell Blackburn.
It's been like 15 years now.
I was going to say, there have been talks for sales of Blackburn, have there not? Or have I just made that up completely? There's quite a few clubs that are in talks of takeover deals in the Championship that need being done.
Yeah,
and it really goes to show that the amount of losses these stupid owners have made.
There is one takeover that's going to be failing soon, and it'll be interesting to see how the league. Well, it's not in the Championship, but there is a takeover that will fail soon, and it'll be interesting to see how the league goes based on that.
I have a feeling it's Everton, isn't it?
It's Everton, yeah. That takeover is going to fail.
Yeah.
And to be fair, if you're an Everton fan, you better hope it fails. Not because you're being more financial issues, but you can't trust 777.
No.
They will put debt on you like what the Glazers did to Man United.
I don't think anyone is trusting 777, actually. I think everyone's almost seen the light almost with the fact it's not been done and the way it's gone about. They've almost gone, this isn't going to work. I've seen something about one of the Palace investors looking to sell his shareholding in Palace and buy Everton.
It be a bad thing.
I find it scary as well how 777 are less trustworthy than Farhad Moshiri.
I don't get how Farhad Moshiri cannot fund Everton. He is loaded.
Yeah.
I don't understand that at all.
I think the money before came from Usmanov, but obviously because of the Russia-Ukraine war, Usmanov assets, I think, was seized. So I don't think I don't know what the ruling behind it, but I think he just can't invest in Everton. And whilst there was
Yeah.
FFP just before the war happened, or the war started, it just got
Okay, at the
worse
wrong
for
time,
Everton
yeah.
since.
Because it was similar with obviously what happened to Abramovich, where he just wasn't allowed to invest in the UK anymore.
Yeah,
And
no,
obviously
Abramovich
that's
had
it.
his club taken off him.
Yeah, the UK government seized it,
Yeah,
It's
and he wasn't allowed to invest
disgraceful they did
anything
that.
in the UK.
That was
Mm.
generally like that should not have happened. I don't care about how dodgy
it was
or
the
whatever
government
situation is.
trying to score
They should
points.
never have
It was
done that.
Yeah.
it was the government trying to be like, oh, let's get involved when there's no need to. The government have no right getting involved in football. There needs to be
Like-
an independent regulator if they want to do that, but the independent regulator should have no say from the government at all. There should be no influence. If anything,
It's his own department. It should be at the end of the day, but
yeah,
it's a
even more so that-
disgrace.
It's even more so that I don't like Roman Abramovich is literally the best owner of Premier League history.
Yeah.
And this is what they did to him. Like this guy put in a lot of money into the Premier League. Like,
But the
he
thing
put
is
a
with
lot of money-
Abramovich, unlike Koff Manchester City, is he did it by following every single rule in the book, and he was ruthless
he didn't cook
with it as
anything.
well. He was
That's-
obsessed
that's
with
funny.
trophies.
He didn't cook anything. I mean, he did steal money to make his wealth. Like he stole that from the government. Like it's well known that Roman Abramovich took money from the Russian government. But
apart
then
from the
went and
transfer
done well
ban
for
for
himself.
youth academy players,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's it. It's sure financial doping, and you can say it's ruining, but realistically, the guy walked in with all this money, went right, I'm going to spend money, and I think early decisions in any takeover make or break the future of that club in that era. Guy signs a bunch of players for a lot of money and brings in Mourinho, builds a winning mentality, builds a winning team, and sets the foundation for his entire reign of just winning, no matter who goes in. You can't really discredit that.
no, you can't. And
Go on.
Guy was cold. Guy was ruthless. Guy was on business, and he was at games as well for a long time.
he's the only owner that Thomas Tuchel hasn't fallen out with.
Don't think Tuchel had a chance to fall out with him if you think about it.
Mhm.
He was gone before Tuchel left.
Tuchel actually got on well with Roman. They got on well together. I think it says a lot, but like to be fair, they get on well in Man United if they generally gave a shit. But they should never have seized the club from him. I mean, he bought the club himself. He's a very powerful, rich man. You can't just take his club off him like that. And Chelsea would have
think
won
if-
the league by now if they didn't steal the club off him. They would have won the league
Can-
title by now.
Yeah.
They would have been in Europe every single season as well. There would have been none of this finishing 12th nonsense or anything.
And they wouldn't have hired Maurizio Pochettino either.
They wouldn't
No
have,
way.
and they wouldn't have signed burnt money on Mudryk, on Enzo Fernandez, on all of these really expensive young players.
Oh, 100%,
In hindsight, I don't even think they would have signed Cole Palmer.
yeah. Oh, absolutely not.
Do you know what the crazy thing is? Abramovich had his controversies, but they're away from the field. They're away from football.
Yeah.
Whether it was about using a different passport for him to be allowed in the UK or whatever, that was Abramovich. The club was seized from him because of his links to Putin. I don't think he actually, I might be wrong here, but I don't think he actually was coming out like Putin's my guy, like rep Putin, etc., etc. It was very much because of your links to him, from the past at least anyway.
Yeah, it was the sanctions that UK government put on.
Yeah. But yeah.
It's also as well, like, this is another thing that's relevant to football clubs is the government the government only got involved because of the whole incident at Salisbury and all that and Russia piling up, but you can't you cannot justify how the government will happily get involved over Chelsea because their owner's Russian, who'd been in the league for 20 years at that point anyway, which is even more interesting. He'd already been in the league for nearly 20 years. He's pumped in all this money, made Chelsea competitive regardless of what people say, or they bought their titles, whatever. Every club spends to win trophies, so there's no excuse for the money talks comment. But, like, they'll gladly seize Chelsea from Roman, but they won't step involved when clubs are going out of business. You know what I mean? Like, they'll gladly take Chelsea, but they won't stop Championship clubs or League One clubs from going out of business or going so far down. I mean, that says it all for me.
Yeah, like prime example with that is look at the treatment of. Well, you'll know full well, Reece. Look at the treatment with Rangers. Look at the treatment with Bury, Macclesfield, Bolton. I could go on all day with the amount of clubs that both Premier League, EFL, UK government have all just done this with the financial problems.
I don't think people really, especially Premier League club fans, I don't think they really grasp how. Right, it's very desperate, especially down in League Two.
Yeah.
At the start of every season, the chairman, CEO, whoever of League Two clubs have to go to the EFL and present a business plan to show how they can sustain themselves during the season with transfers, with incoming and everything, right? People slag off Gary Neville all the time. Whenever he talks about Man United back in Ten Hag or whatever, they go, "Oh, you sack a manager every other year at Salford, this, that." Sure. People don't seem to realise how desperate it is in League Two. Every other year, Salford spend money in the summer and find themselves languishing in 16th. It was the same this season. No, it was 20th, I think, when they sacked their manager.
They don't just spend money, though. When you look at it, they don't just spend money. They spend big money.
And to be languishing in 20th is desperate. And if they get relegated, they can't afford to get relegated. So they change manager to change things because it's clearly like it's not working.
It says a lot, and this is genuinely what's funny because we all saw it coming. It's genuinely funny that Wrexham can get promoted from the National League with a record points total. They can get that, and then they walk into League Two and they finish second. They get promoted again, and when you look at it, they spent a whole lot less than Salford have, and also the fact is that they've done it whilst having an owner that actually does not understand European football, but has actually at least made an effort to understand it. That's more important.
He's made an effort and he's put the correct people around him and actually.
Both of them, to be fair, both of them, like Reynolds and McKelvey, they've both made an effort to understand English, like not just English football, but European football and how to progress their club. Whereas there's no excuse for the likes of Gary Neville, Paul Scholes.
But they've been there since 2014, haven't they? What scale are you running with the spending less money? Because the owners of Wrexham have only been there for what, 2 or 3 years?
Yeah.
It's been 10 years since Class of 92 took over, and they've been in League Two for 5 of those years. I accept the criticism that they should have gotten out by now, and it's been poor.
I'm not using the full length of time. I'm using the last 2 to 3 years as an exact time frame to get it together.
But I'm sure the finances are different between National League and then 3 years in League Two, whereas 2 years in National League. And
even for 1 year in League Two, for example, it's still a reflection. They didn't even need to do anything. They just walked into the league and near enough walked it. They were just unlucky not to win it because there was a team that managed to finish ahead of them that was better prepared. They walked into League Two and then that was it. We said it like months ago. The minute that Wrexham got promoted, because we all spoke about it the day after, because we watched the game on the Sunday. We all spoke about it the following day. We literally said the minute that Wrexham get into League One, you're not stopping them from getting to the Premier League.
No,
they won't be in the
absolutely
Premier.
not.
Yeah,
they'll be in the Premier the next 3 years. League Two.
But their financial scope is much more than what Salford's was.
They don't
Salford
even
had
need to
Peter
spend.
Lim funding the club.
Plus, the thing you've got to look at Salford as well is look at where they started from when the class of 92 took over.
A lot further down, yeah.
To
It
what
took them 5 years to get to the
Hollywood took over
EFL.
Wrexham. And another thing with Salford as well is they were basically just a village club. I know Salford's technically a
Tiny-ass
city,
stadium,
but
yeah. Not even a stadium.
No, it
Tiny.
was a stand. It was a stand. They were way down. Barely any. Their fan base is tiny and all. Wrexham,
Yeah.
it's a
The
proper
scope
town up
behind
there.
the
I know
financial
it's
potential of Wrexham is a lot higher. The class of 92 didn't have the same sponsorship deals that Wrexham do because they didn't have the American Hollywood thing.
But
Class of 92, great in football, big,
but we're not
and they had a
talking
couple
about-
of BBC series. That was it.
But you're now going to the whole Hollywood scene. We're not even talking about that. When you look at combined wealth, like just in general, if you're looking at combined wealth,
Salford doesn't come close to Wrexham in terms of combined wealth.
Salford is well ahead.
How?
If you're looking at full-on combined wealth of all the class of 92, Peter Lim is still involved, by the way. He may not look it, but he is actually still involved. He dwarfs Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds. The difference is, yes, you've mentioned sponsorship in these deals, but even so, Salford have been in this league long enough. They've got the fucking experience of all these football guys.
Yeah, they should have gotten out by now. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. Another aspect though with Salford is how can they rise up the leagues on top of that so quickly? Yet why is it when they get to League Two, when they should have the footballing brain and, for example, the class of 92 having all these contacts, yet they just refuse to make it work?
It says it all for me. It's funny.
They're ex-managers and stuff. They should, with all that combined footballing knowledge, they should be able to rocket Salford up the leagues. But when you have two Hollywood men coming into a small town in Wrexham, where they're pretty much the third biggest club in Wales and will always be the third biggest club in Wales, how does that work? It doesn't make sense.
You want me to prove a point to you? I'm going to prove a point. Peter Lim's net worth, by the way, is 1.59 billion. Ryan Reynolds is 350 billion. Rob McElhenney, his net worth, just checking now, is $50 million. Combined net worth of the two owners is 400 million. And you're telling me that they can't, that in circumstance that Salford is less? No, Salford is so much more.
Well, yeah, because Peter Lim has proven Peter Lim's funding isn't the best. It's proved it at Valencia, and I think it's even proved it at Salford the last few years. They've got one of the highest budgets in the league, yes, fair enough, for the last 5 years, they should have gone up by now. They've spent ridiculous amounts of money, but Wrexham come up and did it in one go quite easily. And I think Salford right now are in no position to do that, weirdly.
Yeah, they're not. But even with Salford, this is what's frustrating as well.
They must have rebuilt twice or three times. There's quite a high turnover of players. There must have been. And managers as well.
Yeah, it
Where
seems
Salford
like they're
have come up.
through them.
I mean, Wrexham, have come up. One manager. And they've already gone up immediately.
And not only that as well, is when you compare the two, Lim would be one of the richest owners in the Championship, which I still find is absolutely mental, considering he's not being able to make it. It's like Barnsley in League One, how then they're struggling to come up as well with with pretty much the richest owner in League One. Yet you have Ryan and Rob, if they ever get to the Championship, they'll be one of the smallest. They'll be they'll be ahead of Delia Smith and the Swansea owners and stuff, but I mean,
Doug's
come on.
Doug's absolutely spot on.
Yeah,
that is spot on. Yeah, I had left out B, but then I brutalised their fans because I think their fans
I actually forgot about that QPR result.
Yeah, but Ipswich 100% in A. They're just everything that was right. I'm going to say this now, lads. I think a general thing. I'm putting Southampton in C.
To be fair, I was thinking the same.
I
think
can't
as
wait to
much as
hate
they-
watch them next season. Fraud Martin at the
Getting a
wheel.
whip every week.
I
Russell
think they'll be
Martin
better.
is an absolute fraud.
I think they'll be better in the Prem, provided they know what they're doing. But I still think they'll survive. It's just the Russell Martin thing that they really need to get players that are far more like for the Premier League, especially if they want to play more of the possession style that Russell Martin needs. If you're going to do that, you need to bring in purely possession-based players next season.
Yeah.
You have to if you want to make it work. If you want to play a fast-paced game, Russell Martin's not the job for that. He's not the manager for that. He likes to dominate the games. And there were some performances last year when they dominated the games where Southampton were genuinely brilliant. Like, they were. Like, even you'll admit that, Nathan, as an absolute Russell Martin hater. Like, I hate
Yeah,
him.
there was certain games that I don't know what happened, but he just sent them out to score goals. But in a lot of them, and especially when I saw them at home as well, where we pumped them within 20 minutes, it's like Southampton. Their players turn up to a restaurant, open the menu, pass around the menu for 2 hours, and then walk out of the restaurant without having any food because they couldn't make a decision, all while spending money.
Whilst talking to sheep. Sorry, Leeds fans.
Yes. Exactly that.
In
And
essence,
the amount of times we have seen this with Russell Martin's sides over the years is ridiculous. And it's always the same issues: defending from the low block, defending on counter-attacks, not being able to press forward, going with this ultra possession against teams that are proven to completely work it out. And aside from obviously the success in the playoffs, Russell Martin has had no success at all anywhere else in his managerial days.
If I was Southampton, if I was Southampton, I know this sounds cruel, but I don't care. If I was Southampton, I would bin Russell Martin and just bring in Van Nistelrooy now.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a good idea. He ain't going to play the overly boring possession football. He'll have them working to score goals as much as they can, as quick as they can.
This is what drives me nuts with Russell Martin. It's not even just possession-based football. It is ultra possession, as he calls it.
It's worse than Van Gaal's possession style.
And that was horrible to watch.
Games. The problem with Van Gaal just he just didn't understand like just how bad it is to be so overly slow. You need to have an understanding that you do need to be able to release the ball a lot more, and that didn't happen. Russell Martin would keep that ball like as if he's not letting his wife go near her friends, let alone like her male friends, like her female friends. Russell Martin went, nah, you're mine, mate. You're not going near anybody. That's what he's doing with the ball. Just keep the ball.
This comment, though.
Absolute weird to me. Hard. Yeah, that summed it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, Southampton in C, just based on they got where they wanted to be, but they need to be a little bit better next year.
Yeah, Doug, I'm actually calling it now. I think Southampton are going to finish bottom, and bottom by a long way.
I've got it still being Leicester. And rightfully so. They deserve
Especially if they get a 15-point deduction as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be just... I can't wait to see until the verdict comes out with them, but I'm going to do some... God, sorry.
I hope... I'll go further. I'll give them 20 points. Just
to be fair, the Premier League could with the overspending. They very well could.
I hope they do. I'm praying. Just for the entertainment.
Oh, 100%.
I'm
going to do a few quick fire ones, if that's all right.
Fire away.
Let's get the really, really boring sides out of the way. I'm going to cover the first two. And at the end of the day, I'm going to put them in a category where they've met expectations, have been an absolute snooze fest, and I don't know if we're ever going to see them not finish mid-table. Bang, bang. And I think there's one more I need to put in there as well. Very close, but these two. Complete and utter snooze fest. Preston, bottlers at the end of the season. Just, I don't even know what happened to Ryan Lowe. And then Bristol City, they've finally pinned Nigel Pearson, but uninspiring. Just no investment. Dull. Complete and utter dullness.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, what a PR stunt that was.
It's just weird. I just think it's weird as hell. I don't understand their decisions. Let's see, who will I go next? Do I be kind or do I be horrible?
Hang on, I haven't had a turn in a while.
Yeah,
That's your fault.
Julio's
That's your fault,
praying.
though.
It's not my fault you want to hog the spotlight.
I don't hog the spotlight. The spotlight just transcends to me because I'm a
Right,
winner.
yeah, of course. Here we
I'm
go.
a serial winner.
Serial wiener.
No, winner.
Plymouth in F, and I only put them in F because they would have wanted to stay up and they did.
I thought you were going to say Plymouth in F because they hired Wayne Rooney. I was like, understandable.
To be fair with Plymouth, though, why did they keep hold of Ian Foster for so long? Like they had such a good. I know Schumacher did end up going to Stoke,
They
but
literally
at the
had
end
the
of the
chance
day,
to get Warnock in. I know they stayed
They
up
did.
in the end, but they literally
I
had
think-
that window of opportunity.
and Warnock
I
would have
think-
gone there as well. But the fact
Mm.
you go for the cheap option, no ambition, you're in the Championship, you've achieved your goals, and then nearly sink your squad after keeping a manager for 4 months too long. Abysmal, and the way that they've been set up into next year. Oh my god!
I think
Talking
they
Rotherham
were
levels.
a little bit lucky with the fact that there were teams poorer than them,
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
fair,
Birmingham,
like-
Huddersfield, and Rotherham.
I can't help but make a joke, but I have to. I think the only reason he didn't get Schumacher is because he was still recovering from the crash.
oh my god.
To be fair, I love Michael Schumacher, but I just wanted to make a sports joke. I still love the guy, but when you look at it though, I still don't think Plymouth are going to feasibly attain anything. I still don't understand the Rooney appointment for next season. I don't know. It's nothing against Wayne Rooney. It's just or anything like that. I just don't understand it myself. I don't think it's not gonna take them up the league because it hasn't worked in other areas. So I just don't understand it, and I can't really say anything.
I think
except that
with
they'll-
the room gone.
if he stays the full season, doesn't get sacked, I'll be surprised if they finish 18th, 19th in the championship. Like, it's just because I don't think he's good enough to do it. Like, for any role, I don't think he's good enough to be a manager. I think he'd be a great coach to a manager, but I don't think he's a good manager at all. I think it's a reflection based on the fact that his former assistant is excelling at
Yeah.
Hull.
We'll get to Hull as well, but that's absolutely spot on. I'm going to give you another one as well, Julio.
Ooh. Let's have a look now. I won't do them because I want to leave them for Nathan because I know how much he'll enjoy it. I think you have to put QPR in E. Very poor start to the season. I criticised the appointment of their manager because it was not tried and tested for this division.
Fuentes, wasn't it?
Kept them up. Fair play to him. I don't know how well they'll do next season. I think they really needed a striker this season.
Yeah.
I think that's been their biggest issue. I know that sounds very basic because you could say that about literally anyone down there, but like there's been times when he's avoided bringing on a striker this season because they're either young and unproven or just not good enough.
For example, like at the end of the day, Lyndon Dykes, I know he can score a goal, but he's aging now.
He should be your bench option. If you're going to have him around, you can't. There's been games when he's brought on a midfielder because Sinclair Armstrong's been on the bench, who's unproven at this level, especially for a relegation battle.
Like
Oh my gosh,
like Lyndon Dykes is literally what 28, 29. He's not even that old. The problem is he's just not consistent enough.
I don't know why,
Hmm.
but it feels like he's been around for donkey's years.
It's like Jordan Rhodes.
Yeah.
He's been about the
What?
gaff quite a while. Lyndon Dykes
Like,
has.
Like Jordan Rhodes, likable striker, but the problem is he just didn't work in the championship. Callum May as well, good up here, but he just didn't work in the championship.
Oh,
Back up
absolutely.
here. Like, they're just not adaptable, or they just cannot adapt successfully, and then they fail. And Lyndon Dykes is another one. Like, he's flopping hard.
So
Yeah, a lot of
like
people-
another example I'll give you as well is Tom Lawrence, who's up obviously in
Oh.
Scotland now.
Oh, to be fair, I thought he was alright at Derby. I actually thought he was alright at Derby for Rooney, actually. He was one of the two standout players that he had, but after that, yeah.
He was in
really
a car
poor.
crash there. I mean, he failed.
Yeah.
What was it? He wasn't good at Ipswich. I think
No.
he also played for Bolton as well, and he was where I wasn't impressed there. He was by that at Cardiff.
Yeah,
But
it just rattles down.
same with Timu Pukki as well. He was the opposite, wasn't he? How on earth do you flop at Celtic and then win Golden Boots at Norwich in the going up to the Prem? Shocking.
To be fair, I would deliberately flop at that club if I was signed for them. I would try my best to refuse, but I'd deliberately flop. I would just give penalty. I would deliberately, if I was a midfielder, I'd just run back and give penalties away. Anyway, I can to make them lose. It'd be beautiful. Be labelled a hero. Be bliss.
Wow.
But yeah, I think we all
Well-
pretty much had QPR. We all had a lot of expectation around QPR going
I've
down.
I've just seen the badge again. Burst out laughing.
Looks like someone's taken over the supporters trust thing and has started having a massive rant about Vincent Tan.
Nathan will be having
No proper club statement, just slap it on a tweet. That's what we love to see. Let's dump it in.
Where's the corner flag?
Oh my god.
Nathan's rage later on.
Oh, I love this football club. But I'm going to move on to one that Doug said as well. Depressing. I don't know, because they signed a load of players in the summer but turned into Stoke.
It's piss poor
Schumacher's
from Stoke.
disappointing as well. Awful.
No,
It's
they've been.
tempting, but
It's
they're
been
not
the
as bad as
same
these
position.
three.
No, it's been the same position for years. You can see consistency there. So if anything, they're now expected to be there.
They still suck balls.
They do.
It's what happens when you hire someone from Northern Ireland as well. That can't coach.
Oh
Nothing
my god,
against
yeah.
Northern Ireland. It's not so bad, but he just couldn't coach.
Not only that as well, imagine a defensive manager at Stoke though, and you still
didn't see that
fail.
one coming.
It's funny when a defensive manager does fail at a club that just loves to defend. Oh, Britannia! Balls. Oh, the Britannia stands for me. We fucking lost every game.
Anyway, Reece, it's your turn.
I'm going to put them all in the same bracket. West Brom, Millwall,
Yep.
Norwich. Bunch of eckies.
Wow. Oh, Millwall, Norwich. The only to be fair, that is solid. Like Wagner, shocking.
Sacked him
They
8
should've-
months too late, in my opinion.
Massively. The fact they got into the playoffs was a miracle. Literally
I
just
think
because everyone
They
else
had
bottled it.
no, but to be fair, don't they have a lot of players in that team with playoff experience?
Yep.
That's literally the reason why. Then
They were. The thing is, they didn't have momentum going into it. Playoff experience. David
They
Wagner
turned up
playoff
in there.
experience as well. It just
They just turned up. No, the thing is, they just turned up in the playoffs. Do you remember in October when they were like bottom half, and
yeah.
everyone was like, Delia's gonna. There were the reports that Delia was gonna sack him.
Because she didn't get our Farker sausage back.
Not this
no.
again. Oh my god.
What is it with her and German managers? Because she's got another one in now as well.
Yeah.
Oh no, she's gonna go for Danny Roll next.
Yeah. It screams of a Norwich signing.
Like, genuinely, like, the circumstance being, like, Delia Smith, like, she just wants to be fucked again. But it's not going to happen. She's all bark and no fark.
Comment of the night.
Just half cut. Where are you?
The only
bark and no fark.
Just to jump in though, just thinking about it now as well, the only one I'd move up is West Brom.
To be fair, they
Because
did
loads
make
of
playoffs this
people,
year.
they did, and with the problems off the pitch, Corberan's incredible manager. Loads of their first team players out on loan as well. For example, Colin Grant, who can score goals,
Reasonable.
out on loan because they couldn't
Yeah,
afford
he was
him.
at
and
your lot.
he was, yeah. And at the end of the day, when you've got to do that and you can't sign any players, he sort of gelled it all together and he did really well because loads of
that is
people had
quite
them around the bottom
impressive,
half. I'm tempted to go C or B with them. Maybe even B.
I'd say D.
Really?
Yeah, I'll go with D.
What do you reckon, Julio? Deciding vote. Because for me, I would have put them in D if they just missed out.
Do you know what? Because the fact that they actually made the playoffs, it's the only reason they just get into C for me.
Yeah.
Literally all the reasons around it says D. Do you know what I mean? But the fact that they finished higher than expected. Playoffs, like finishing the playoffs is playoffs. Do you know what I mean?
That's great, yeah.
So it's, yeah, for me, I think I'd just about put them in C.
Interesting. Got another tough one as well. Coventry.
C.
Reece, didn't you want this one?
Yeah, C.
I can back that.
Wasn't there a point where it didn't look like they were going to match last season, and then they finished 9th? Did it again, same as last season. Relatively slow start, and then picked up.
And at the end of the day, they had another rebuild at the start of the year as well, with the amount of players going out. And FA Cup semi-final when they should have got to the final.
Oh my god.
That's a good season, that.
They shouldn't have got to the final, but they were worthy of getting there. If they hadn't tried to overcomplicate themselves like little clowns.
100%. Liam Rossini at Hull.
That's an interesting.
Yeah, because it's either he's done an amazing job to really push them getting close to playoffs, but with the squad value, is that a bit of a bottle job?
No.
Because the thing is, the Hull owners have got ambition. I know sacking him was harsh,
I think
but
I put them in. I think I want to say I put them in D.
yeah.
On the managerial change, it screams of thanks for steadying the ship for us for a year and a half. You've laid a good foundation for us to now go get someone and build on. And like if they got someone, I can see them getting someone in and finishing automatics next season. It's that kind of change I can see,
especially if they get a big name as well. Because I've seen stuff where they want to go for Errol Bullock.
Your guy, they could get Bullock, and he could get them in second, just about.
Because the thing is, Hull have budget to back him as well.
Exactly.
They've got money, and the thing is, Bullock with money, he's wherever he's gone, he's had a high win percentage, minus obviously Cardiff. Like, look at what he did at Fenerbahce. I know he didn't win the league at Fenerbahce, but the amount of games they won was ridiculous. Straight into D for me.
So I'll be interested to see who they go for.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, the managerial.
This season, though, by the way, by far, Fenerbahce, Galatasaray.
What's that?
That's an insane. That was an insane title race.
And the one game that Fenerbahce lost was the game they didn't play Fred all season.
Fred. God.
They didn't play him for one game, they lost, and it contributed to them not winning the league. I think it's crazy. And Fenerbahce had a higher goal difference as well. It was only 3 points. I think it's crazy. It was just a couple more, too many draws. But yeah, I'm actually going to say Hull. I know it may sound a bit odd, but I'd actually say Hull were a little bit higher. I still think they're a little bit higher. Fuck them, I don't care. I think Hull are just one grade up. I'll be honest with you. I think they're C. Personally, I just think
the only reason that stopped me putting them there, I do agree with you, Reece. I think the only reason that stopped me putting them there was the fact that not expectation, but it seems very much like there's a lot in that squad that maybe could have got them over the line, and maybe the Hull owners believe that.
I think
that's why they decided maybe Rosinia's not the guy.
Plus, another thing I will give to Hull as well, in 4 seasons to go from absolute disaster in League One to just pushing for playoffs and looking at being in automatics within 2-3 years, that's insane.
Yeah,
it's brilliant to see.
I think just one final point on the managerial thing. When I say about the, maybe they saw that Rossinha was like good with his players, but maybe they could be better. It reminds me of when Scott Parker took Fulham up compared to when Silva brought Fulham up in the Championship seasons. I think Marco Silva would have got a very similar record if he had Scott Parker's side. If you know what I mean. I know there was 2 seasons apart, but I think obviously you get certain managers like Scott Parker who can only get so much out of you, but then you get like a Marco Silva, someone who's better, and you see that influence and how it takes a team to the next level. Like recently I saw pictures of like a lineup from when Fulham were relegated under Parker, the second time technically, and it was like the amount of players in there: Areola in goals, Ambongrisa, Anderson, very good players in that team.
Yeah,
and you see that and you think they look terrible under him, but when you deep it, if Marco Silva had those players, they would have been so much better. So I think that it might be that kind of thing that the Hull owners are looking at, thinking, great, Rossinha gets us to 7th, but Bullock probably gets us 4th, or another manager gets us 4th or 3rd, that kind of thing. Especially with the Carvalho signing.
100%.
When we saw that in January, we thought that they might have snatched the playoffs.
The second I saw that Carvalho come in, I was like, right, top off playoffs, and if not automatics the next season. But I don't know. I think they should have kept Rossinha, to be honest. Underrated coach, especially
Rossinha is good though. Rossinha is very good.
Hands.
I think in regards to Rossinha, I think he deserves another job. I don't know if he's been linked with them yet, but he's a very good coach. Clearly the brains behind Derby, which people only started noticing this season, in terms of Derby under Rooney. And good coach.
100%. So I'm going to get the boring one out of the way. I'm going to stuff Watford in E, just mainly because Pozzo's a lost interest.
I don't think anyone cares anymore about Watford.
They turned into a Stoke ever since they've been relegated. So constantly sacking managers. They've got Cleverly in because they just don't. No one wants to work there anymore. They binned off Ishmael after a
last a year. I think if Cleverly gets to May next year, he won't last beyond that.
Yeah, I completely agree. Even Doug's agreed, which is amazing stuff. But I mean, the thing is, like with the likes of Asprilla, Hoyt, they have really good upper quality Championship players there, but it's just the rest where there's no. Pozzos are giving up on investment. They just don't care. The sacking spree has gone, and mid-table Championship club now like Stoke, and they're going to be there forever unless anything changes. And boy, was he very cleverly to get that job. We can tell Doug's back tonight.
Fuck's sake.
Christ all fucking mighty.
And now we've got the two that we get to laugh the most at. Who wants to go first?
Easy.
Well, Leeds are in you.
They are.
Farke was a disgraceful appointment in the first place. Then, how they didn't finish automatics, I don't know. Yes, I know
some better
Ipswich
for
were
you.
great, but
Mhm.
let's be honest, with the squad at the disposal, should have done better. That's no disrespect on Ipswich, that's just Leeds do better. And then playoffs, the way hopeless almost in the final.
Yeah.
I think if you're losing, the record, it wasn't in their favour going in against Southampton, and now they're in a bad position in terms of, you know, FFP, and you know they've got to sell players and all that stuff.
Even the attitude with a lot of their players as well. For example, Notto. Like, at the end of the day, if the players don't want to play for the club, you get rid.
Do you know
Like, the amount of players
don't,
they have on loan, they have to have loaned out as well, is stupid because of how unsustainable it is. And they put themselves in this situation.
In fairness, though, a lot of the fans are like this. A lot of the players that are out on loan this season, the fans don't want back at the club because they clearly don't want to be around. How
Absolutely.
close it will be, I don't know how much money they need to raise. Is it 100 million they need to raise?
To be fair, even though they're going to get a lot of cheapies, they can do that, Leeds.
A lot of the loans can get you close. Like, I think Sinisterra's move was made permanent, wasn't it?
Yes. I think Aronson's was as well.
Yeah, but I don't know whether that money comes in now or post-June. But notwithstanding that, I don't think that's beyond the realms of possibility if the way the numbers add up. The key for me is, how do they recruit next season? And how do they go? Because for me, they have to get promoted next season. But if they have a poor summer, how can you see that happening with Farke at the wheel?
Yeah.
Broad Farke might not even make it past Christmas. Leeds could be languishing mid-table.
Breaking news coming. If I can just very quickly jump in. Enzo Maresca is set to sign a 6-year contract at Chelsea.
Woo!
Someone cue the Pardew dance.
That Todd Bowley's just a nutter at the end of the day. But Reece, what are you also at about Leeds, mate? I know you've been itching for this moment.
Leeds wish they had a title like mine.
What, prick?
Nah, that's not what I get called, mate. I'm a god amongst men.
Oh, I love it.
I think has enough been said on Leeds?
They're a Finnish club.
I reckon we could do a little bit more. Let's get into the elephant in the room, Daniel Farke.
Last words on Leeds for me, so apart from the fact that Farke sucks.
Sucks
Genuinely
what?
for everything. The sooner Leeds die, the better. I don't care anymore. The sooner they die, the better.
To be fair, they've got that Red Bull money coming in now, so Reece might transition being an avid Leipzig fan.
No, no. I don't care enough about Salzburg. I don't care about RB Bragantino. I don't care about the Red Bulls in New York. Like, I just don't care. Like, about them. I only care for Leipzig because it's German. I don't care about the rest. The rest of them can kiss my ass for all I care.
I think the Red Bull money might help them this summer, though. They've got enough money. The 49ers have money.
Yeah.
How it will work out, I don't know. But with the Red Bull money coming in, it might help as well.
Especially if they add them to their scouting network as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking
that
about
will
Leeds
really
as some
benefit
like
Leeds.
poor broke club. Do you know what I mean? But it's like there's a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah.
For the summer coming ahead in terms of player sales and all that. They've got a lot of players out on loan they can raise money from. I think Jadon Anthony was out on loan this summer. I think you had other players like Christensen and I think Llorente was also out on loan, or did they?
Yep.
Was he permanently sold last? So there is quite a few players, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting summer if you're a Leeds fan. Not for the rest of us, we'll be laughing hysterically. So yeah.
Oh my God, Doug. Leeds
be
are falling
fair-
apart again.
The worst thing is though is I can't even praise that joke because there is actual bottles of Red Bull you can buy. So I think Doug's kind of lost his joke plan for once. He's kind of lost. There are Red Bull bottles. Sorry, bud, you failed for a change.
Oh God.
But I like the joke though. That was funny.
That's brilliant, mate. And then for the last one before we move on to obviously Reese's topics. So the good stuff, the Bundesliga stuff, Xavi, everything. I'm going to leave this one up to you guys because anything I'm going to say is going to be biased and I'm just going to rip into them.
Well, I had them top 10 with Michael Duff. I thought he would be a good appointment, and I thought it was going back to the substance over style that we saw under Steve Cooper. Needless to say, it wasn't that. They were in a relegation battle at one point. They stayed up in the end. I don't know whether you could put them in disaster in you. Because what was it, after October it took them a while to get the manager they wanted and they got him in straight from League Two, so it'll be interesting to see how he is at this level.
The thing is, it's another hipster appointment and it's another
weirdly
way.
Do you know what it is? I like this hipster appointment because for time and time I have said to you that I hate managers getting jobs based on their names.
Yeah.
When there's managers in League One and League Two who deserve better jobs on merit based on what they do, it might be a bad appointment in the long run, but I like the fact that they, instead of going for a bigger name, they've gone for someone in League Two who they're going, we like what he's doing what we want, we'll get him. I like that. It's better than getting Gerrard or Lampard out of nowhere because they've got big names. That's the only reason I like this. I know I'm more of a substance over style kind of person. Yes, the style on top of the substance would be nice, but realistically, like, you play to win.
I also think that with Swansea as well, there's, as you said, with substance over style, I think that Michael Duff was forced out a little bit. I know obviously he wasn't really backed in the summer, but at the end of the day, they were very quick. I don't know. It's 50-50. I think I'm going to shove him in after. Have you got anything else to add to one, Reece?
They're shite.
Yeah. Completely agree.
And that badge is awful. I actually like the one they had in the Premier League. I thought the one they had in the Premier League was cool. I don't know why they changed it.
Apparently it was, I don't even know what it was. They changed it back this season, but they did it for 2 years as like a very hipster thing. Like this, it was just random. Like, oh, let's just bring back 90s nostalgia randomly. Such a hipster club.
Yeah.
To answer this comment below, it's very much the question of who's going to get more seats in the general election, the SNP or the Conservatives. That's how much you don't know. But yeah, that's the tier list. Smashed it. Anyway, Reece, floor's yours, mate. Question is, where do we start?
I say we can go another half hour. We'll split 15 minutes Serie A and the Bundesliga. We'll just do 15 minutes each.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But I think when you look at it as a whole, the definitely the best league in Europe last season was by far Serie A. Like,
Yeah.
it's again shown the enjoyment of the division and the coaching of the league. When you see surprise like Bologna, like brilliant all year, like Inter Milan surprising with how well they played. The turnaround of Atlanta in Europe.
I mean, for
Yeah,
them to win the Europa
yeah.
League this week, absolutely fantastic. And the way they obviously go to one of the longest winning streaks in European history, and by Leverkusen, and convincingly as well, with some of their comebacks, and absolutely pump them in Ireland.
Absolutely.
The way that club has been slowly risen up Serie A and sustainably run, and there's been no hiccups, no dropping down the table, just a really constant, steady, and stable rise. You never see that in football anymore. And the amount of credit I'll give to Atalanta is it's just incredible.
It's the underwhelmingness of certain clubs like Inter and Juventus, though. Like, even though Milan finished, like Milan finished in second, but they were still underwhelming in certain games. Like, Juventus were just, again, no clue how they got this so bad. It was just dreadful. Napoli, awful. Roma, mixed.
Yeah, plus with Roma as well, more breaking news has actually come out tonight. Spinazzola is actually leaving at the end of the season. Bad move.
Okay, that's interesting. Wonder where it goes.
I don't know why. For me, it screams Juventus. I think Thiago Motta's going to pick him up.
Maybe. Might do. It wouldn't be a bad shout. The league's certainly good for the fact that they got the European spot as well, rightfully so. Like, genuinely really good league. I don't think you really have to say much on Serie A, except it was just, in general, exciting season. The clubs next year, Inter, Milan, Juventus, are going to be very transitional. I think Atlanta have got a big chance to win the league next year. And I think they could. Like, they will have no transition. They just need to make a few signings. They can do that with the Europa League money. I think Atlanta have got a very good chance. I think Inter are still the favourites, but when you look at it, there's so much change. And AC Milan should not be getting Paulo Fonseca as the manager.
That's a disastrous move.
Just as bad as Lopetegui. That's not because Lopetegui is bad. It's just that Spanish managers do not work in Serie A that well. It's a bad move. Milan should have went back for Allegri or Conte, or even tried to do more for Motta. I don't know why Milan didn't put up more of a fight. They could have got him easy, but they didn't do it. But it's
the thing is, remind me, where's Conte going again?
Napoli.
Was it Roma?
Napoli.
Sorry, that's going to be dangerous.
Because
I know they
know European football as well.
Oh God,
they won't win the league. They won't win the league next year. I'm telling you in advance, they will not win the league.
Are you going to say top four with them?
They'll finish top four easily, especially if they sign Lukaku.
No, they won't. They won't sign Lukaku. Conte will not go for Lukaku.
The deal looks to be happening right now. There looks to be Chelsea are interested in Osimhen, and the proposal is Lukaku in the deal, which doesn't surprise me with Conte going in.
Surely Lukaku plus cash then, because Osimhen's got higher value.
Well, of course it's going to be Lukaku plus cash. It's not going to be just Lukaku.
You can say of course, because Bowley's stupid enough to just trade. But that's a stupid move by Conte. You should keep Osimhen and just play a 3-4-3.
No, but it's not about whether Conte wants Osimhen or not. Osimhen wants to go. It's the player. The player doesn't want to be there.
If that's the case, then don't bring in Lukaku.
Conte knows Lukaku. Conte knows how to get the best out of Lukaku. If he needs a striker, he knows he's going to call him. For me, it's one of the most bait transfers of the summer. I'm saying
this now. If it ends up going through, Conte's made a fucking mistake. Because Kvaratskhelia will not like playing beside Lukaku.
He's been linked with a move away as well, to be fair.
Yeah, I think
There are talks about him leaving. There's talks about Conte getting up to probably 250 million quid to spend,
dealer,
which I know sounds ridiculous, but most of that will be player sales.
Yeah, but if Cucurella leaves, then with the that could be a major rebuild that he could just get loads of. We all know that Conte loves a wheeler deal. Gets his own players in, fits with his system. He can build that Napoli side to be.
And Greaser's gone back to Fulham apparently. That's a big
Really?
loss. Yeah.
Wow.
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
Anguissa, Paulinho midfield would be deadly in the Premier League. Anguissa's quality. I take him at United. That's Anguissa. I really do rate Anguissa.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
See,
yeah.
I liked him. I didn't think you'd say that though. I really like Anguissa. Not because he's a career mode legend for me personally, but
I like him.
Generally on the footballing level.
I think he's underrated as a footballer. He's talented. He's physically imposing. He's mobile.
Yeah.
He's deadly. He reminds me of Vidal in a way, except he's not going to kill someone.
Conte will love him then. Conte will do everything to keep him.
I still think he'll go, but I think Conte will have someone in mind. It wouldn't surprise me if Anguissa went back. It wouldn't surprise me if Conte tried to pull Napoli's hand and tried to get Ederson.
From Atlanta?
But I think Atlanta will be reserved because Koopmeiner's linked to a £60 million move to Juventus. He's going to be a big want in the summer. I think they could theoretically lose both, but they would spend that money so wisely. But Napoli, my concern with them though is the system. I think personally, I know Conte in other leagues has used the 3-4-3. He doesn't do it as much in Italy. I think with the wingers that Napoli have got, he should play the 3-4-3. Especially if he signs Lukaku. He can play Lukaku up front on his own if he wants to. Just have Kvaratskhelia and Politano play as the two wingers and support him, because they'll give him assists and goals. And then you just need to sort your wing backs. Di Lorenzo's already tailor-made. Although I wouldn't mind Di Lorenzo at AC Milan, but that's because I think he's incredible. But Mario Rui as a left wing back is so much better than left back unless he changes up a bit. They've got the options right there.
I think they've got a good base to build from in terms of what Conte wants.
Yeah, I think they do. It's just the way you go around it. I think maybe at best Conte gets 150, 160 to spend. But that's 150, 160 that actually works. Milan are going to spend 200 million. That's been confirmed. Milan will spend 200 million this summer. Inter are going to be
that is really going to be interesting with Inter.
Striker, I laugh at people that think Inter Milan are not going to make the same mistakes as AC Milan. They will. It's a hedge fund. They'll make the same mistakes. They've already confirmed they're going to balance the books. But they're keeping Marotta. Yeah, who cares? Marotta's great, but if you balance the books, that neutralises him. Like, unless you sell and then he gets to spend something, there's nothing there. Like, I think Inter will still be good because of Inzaghi, but when you look at it, balancing the books is pretty much said you're not having a big summer, even though you've won the league. That pretty much sums it up.
Kind of similar to what Conte had when he won the league.
Yeah.
They literally went, thanks for winning us the league, now we're selling Lukaku and Hakimi.
It's what can Inzaghi do this season, because if they get it right, they could win the league. But I think if you look at it, I think it's hard to call the race. I think it's another 5-team race.
Yeah.
But the teams that I would say, Inter, Milan, Juventus, despite transitional seasons, Atalanta, and Roma. And Bologna, now they've lost Motta, they'll go down a little bit. They'll go down, especially in the Champions League. Lazio, I'm not convinced enough. Fiorentina might finish sixth, but they've wasted it. They just bottled another European final again. And especially because Olympiacos are now the first Greek side to win a European final. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, I
Rivals,
I don't know why I can actually see Fiorentina bottling Europe.
I think that's the situation. I think it's those 5 teams. If Milan spend the money right, 200 million, a right back, a centre back. I think it's 2 midfielders and a striker.
Jesus.
They're ready to go, and they're looking at a left-footed centre back and a right-footed centre back because they've lost some players already. Calderon, Kaya are gone. Giroud's gone. The top strikers are between Šeško and Xerxes. But if Griezmann's available, I'd go for Griezmann all day. I think that's smart. Morata's available for 12 million.
I know, it's crazy. There's some good value for money there.
If 15 million for Griezmann or 12 million for Morata, I would do both.
Even Hermoso on a
do
free from Atletico.
As a centre back, yeah. Play him right beside Tomori.
Free transfer.
Play him beside Tomori and let Malik Thiaw develop a little more. Right, even though he's been excellent. Right back, I don't know. Terracciano, let him develop. I'd sell Calabria. I think it's time for him to go. He was awful last year. Midfield, I think Yusuf Fofana is one of the favourites, and I can't remember the other one. But up front, I would go Griezmann or Morata. Sell Jovic. I don't think he's, even though he scored some goals, I don't think he's enough. I'd bring back Lorenzo Colombo, and I'd have him at Okafor and either Griezmann or Morata. I don't know I think Šeško's good, but I'm not sure if it's the right answer.
I think Arsenal are looking into him quite strongly.
35 million. I think Xerxes would be a good move. He's already well aware of the league, but I think Morata or Griezmann would be the best choice for Milan at the moment. And it's like a ready-made experienced striker replacing a ready-made experienced striker in Giroud. I think it's wise.
I don't know how well Fonseca would do with this team though, especially with that kind of money. I know obviously it's not him spending it, but I mean, I would have, me personally, I think maybe Zlatan would have driven the bandwagon for Conte.
He wanted
as well. Yeah, I mean, I personally would have gone for Conte.
Jerry Cardinale overruled him. He says no, it doesn't fit in with what we're looking for, so they go for Fonseca.
This screams very much of top 4 every year. That's what it is.
I'm not a fan of it. I don't rate Fonseca at all. Like, if apart from Allegri, Conte, I said Motta. The only one I said that else I would take is the Porto manager.
Conceição.
Milan shouldn't be fumbling that option either. But did they want Fonseca and did they want to give him 200 million? But it's because he likes to dominate possession. He plays exactly like Pioli. But Pioli for last season was absolute wank. Even though they finished second in the league, it was bad. Like, nah, I can't take that at all. I can't. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. If Xavi's going or Tuchel, I'm surprised Milan aren't considering Tuchel or Xavi either.
Yeah.
I don't know why you wouldn't consider those two. Tuchel in the Serie A would actually be really interesting.
Even De Zerbi's left Brighton.
Oh, I'm glad he's not getting the Milan job anyway. Like, I rate De Zerbi, but
it just doesn't fit.
Even though he used to play for AC Milan, the fact that he said Milan or Barca's a dream job for him is when I ruled him out. The minute you include Barcelona in a dream job list with AC Milan, you've already lost it for me anyway. But like, it's also the fact is like his style, he will exhaust those Milan players as well. That they won't compete, and he's clearly not good with squads that are more talented than he can cope with.
Yeah,
I would bin the Bundesliga, Bayern, shite. enough said. Stuttgart, fantastic. Leverkusen, obviously, congratulations on their first ever double. Dortmund are going to still flop the Champions League final. Leipzig keep a hold of Marco Rose, even though he was also linked to AC Milan at one point. Rebuild their squad, but they'll lose Xavi Simons end of the season. Obviously, he'll go back to PSG. Dani Olmo's potentially available for 51 million. 45 for Šeško. Pendas are potentially available as well, depending on how things go, but they need to retain these players. But when I look at the league, it's not so much that Bayern bottled it, like Leverkusen were just too good, and I don't blame all of it on Thomas Tuchel for how bad Bayern were, but you can see that there was some issues forming in certain games, but Leverkusen were just consistent all season, although quite sceptical for all those goals in the 90, like from 89 minute onward. So many that's hard to pinpoint. You know what I mean? It screams a little bit. Oh, I've got an interesting update from a political standpoint for everyone's laughs here. Donald Trump's been found guilty. In his
I was
trial,
going to
he's been
pull up
found
with
guilty.
something
Oh, yeah,
as
I've
well,
seen
but it
that.
wasn't that. Apparently, Real Madrid have started talking about Joshua Kimmich as a Kroos replacement.
I do not know why Man United are not all over him. But after
Should
what
be.
I've seen Jim Ratcliffe post, I'm
But then
a
again, the
bit
question is with
skeptical.
Kimi, how much do you reckon Bayern Munich could be able to get for him from
60.
Real Madrid?
50.
Somewhere between 40 and 60, which obviously 50, yeah. But
I think it would just be 50 because of the contract, but also
yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
I'm just perplexed by their appointment for next season. I don't understand it. Like, you've rewarded ultimate failure. You've rewarded relegation with the biggest job in Germany.
how do you fail upwards like that? I mean, we've seen fail upwards before, but that's just ridiculous.
Shout out to Uli Hoeneß though,
Yeah.
for his work at sorry, that's the bang guy, Sepp Hoeneß. Shout out to Sepp Hoeneß for his work at Stuttgart. Excellent German coach. German coaches right now are creme to the creme. Like, they're the best right now by a mile.
Unless you're employed by Didier Smith.
Unless you're employed by Didier Smith.
But then again, with the thing I'll give the Stuttgart boss, to take him from relegation battle comfortably in Champions League football with the second best record in the Bundesliga in the second half of the season, that's ridiculous.
And they maintained Garassi's form when everyone thought Garassi would flop after he had a bad AFCON.
Yep.
Nah, he was excellent the second half of the season still.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see them do well again next season, but I doubt they will at Stuttgart. But it's been a long time since Stuttgart been in the Champions League. I think the last time they were in the Champions League, it was when Rangers got to the cup final against Juventus. Not Juventus, I'm thinking of a brilliant final. Zenit. Which was 2008. I don't think they've been in the Champions League that since then. 2008, maybe 2009.
They were in
Nah,
it in
they've been-
2010.
Yeah, they've been in Bundesliga's a few times as well, haven't they?
Barca
Yeah,
knocked them out in 2010,
Yes, they did.
but ever since, I don't know.
They've been off. They've just been
But yeah,
awful. But Hoeneß he's an excellent manager. And I'm surprised Bayern Munich didn't try for him. I'm surprised. Like, overall, I would have said him. I always believe the best club in your country should be managed by like somebody from that country. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
PSG, I rate Luis Enrique a lot, but PSG should be managed by a French manager. Obviously, English managers aren't good enough, so you can rule out England's top clubs. Italy, like the Juventus, Inter, Milan, they should be managed by Italian managers. Spain, apart from Ancelotti, who's elite. Barcelona were managed by a Spanish manager, now they're managed by a German. It's going to be funny to see Barcelona fans cope having to watch Barca play gegenpress football. That's going to be hilarious. I'll be paying close attention to Barca. I wish Hansi Flick a lot of luck. I think he's made the wrong choice.
yeah.
And I agree with Xavi's comments.
He will suffer.
The neck
Yeah.
he will suffer. Simeone, don't know. Michel, his last year at Girona, regardless, like he's going next season after the season ends because he'll be at Man City, I think. But I'm eager to see what happens in the Bundesliga. I think the Bundesliga and Serie A will be the best league next year, but the most exciting team might be either Juventus or Barca. I think they'll be the most exciting clubs in a different way. Transition from Allegri to Motta, and then Xavi to Hansi Flick. It's scary good.
Yeah, I can back that.
But the Premier League will be shit. I actually think the Prem will be awful next year.
I mean, for example, like this year, it was just so predictable, wasn't it?
Liverpool were going to fall off. Arsenal were going to bottle it. And City would come through and win again. Oh no! Who'd have seen that one coming?
The thing that we've seen though is how far the FA went with Arsenal. When people say that City can get charges and cheat their way to the league, you can tell that the FA was deliberately trying to get Arsenal to win the league with all the added on time.
Yeah.
I found it quite sus. Just let them fight out for the league. If they're the best team to win the league, then they'll win the league. They don't need a governing body to assist them.
Interesting. Anything else to add, guys?
I was just thinking because I think I had a point and then I've forgotten it. Which isn't great, but...
Last thing for me, Vinicius Jr. or Jude Bellingham, I think, will win the Ballon d'Or. Unless Germany win the Euros, then it'll be Florian Wirtz.
Sure, Kroos won't win it. Champions League and Euros.
No. I don't think he will because he'll be retiring. They'll just rule him out by proxy. Which
in my opinion as well, just with the way that Leipzig have been, and especially if not like what am I on about? Leverkusen. The way that Leverkusen have been playing this season, and Florian Wirtz, the way he's fitted into just he's cooked there. He's absolutely cooked there. If he does that in the World Cup, he's going to be one of the standout players, and it's the fact it's in Germany as well. Germany always do well in their home tournaments. They win the Euros, 100% Ballon d'Or.
I rate Nagelsmann's choice though that he says he's going to play Wirtz and Musiala as the two wide tens of Gundogan behind the striker, and then in games you'll change it up with wingers coming on. Like, I rate that.
That system's
he won't
going to
do
be
it every
nuts.
game because he's not predictable, but it's going to still be a 4-2-3-1. But he'll use 3 10s because Gundogan plays a 10 for him.
Yeah.
And it works. Andrić beside Toni Kroos is a fantastic base midfield.
Yeah.
Like, Germany looked prepared for the Euros and people were writing them off. You cannot write them off now. Like, they're ready. I know a lot of people were saying they should have taken Hummels or whatever. I would have taken Hummels over Müller, because Müller for some reason just cannot seem to score at the Euros, but there were some other players I would have taken. Like, I still think Timo Werner should still have went to the Euros. I think just getting him behind for goals, he would have been effective.
Yeah.
Or even like another number 10, like, would have been efficient. Like, I'm surprised Serge Gnabry isn't going, but to be fair, I kind of understand it anyway. He had a poor Bundesliga season. You should have to earn it to get in the team, but Hummels was the one that surprised me because he was one of Dortmund's best players. Schüller as well, like, that shocked me, but fair play to Nagelsmann. Like, he understands his choices. The fact that Bayer is in the squad is great. He was excellent for Hoffenheim.
Yeah.
He deserves to be in that squad as well. And right on back to front, it just looks good for the Germans. They're just getting it right. So I'm eager to see it. And I still think they'll win the tournament.
So if Germany do a 2006, who's your second bet, do you reckon?
they're at the semi-finals.
winning
Um,
Euros.
3
don't-
lines on a
Oh
shirt.
God, no.
England aren't getting past the
Children
last
may
16.
sugar- Not with
England aren't
North
getting
Fence
past-
dressed the way he is. They're not winning anything.
It's not about how he's dressed; it's the selections.
And the English media.
Come on,
I-
even if he had top selections, they're not going to win anyway. It's
They could
North
if they were a bit
Fence.
more. They could if they were a little bit different.
Yeah, like
I
manager,
think the last
different
the last
guy
time
on
I
the
turned-
bench.
last time a tournament was held in Germany, Italy won it.
Yeah.
I think if Germany don't win it, I think Spain will.
They've got a
Although
decent young squad, to be fair.
Although I now understand why Nico Williams is now a Barcelona player.
Yeah.
Because that's a Hansi Flick type winger right there, direct and fast and powerful and can finish. But I don't understand why Pedro Porro is not in the Spain squad. I don't understand that. He was brilliant for Tottenham. Probably because he plays for Tottenham, but I don't know. But genuinely brilliant fullback. I'm surprised he's not in that squad.
Mhm.
I think Portugal will flop. I think France will be shit. England will just be England.
I know Martinez has got Portugal cooking in qualifying and that, but Portugal always flatter to deceive in tournaments, and
Mhm.
I don't think Martinez has fully grasped the team
I
of
think
Portugal yet, like he did for Belgium's golden generation.
Yeah.
I think Belgium will be terrible as well. Even though
Oh,
I like
100%.
Tedesco, German Italian manager, but I think they'll just be poor regardless. I think it's between Germany and Spain. I think it's between those two, just because they're the two most prolific teams in the tournament, but they seem best prepared. I hope we get a shock. I hope the
Yeah.
Netherlands fail, because they're just a bunch of like frail, weak clowns that abandon philosophy.
Yeah, they're going to get humbled, especially with the way they've been.
Even though they've all of a sudden playing a 4-3-3, I think still there's so many things with their team that I would change up. Like there's so many players in that team that I would change, or even the system I would make it clear. Like I would change instant. But I think the one thing I would do if I was Ronald Koeman going into the Euros, plain and simple, Frankie de Jong is not in my starting midfield. I would start right-handers beside Koopmeiners.
Yeah.
With Xavi Simmons ahead in the 10 role. That's what I would do personally. I would do that. Xerxes up front, Noah Lang on the wing, and I'm not sure who the other. Like, I'm just gonna double check because that's what I would generally do. Just want to double check. Netherlands Euro 2024. That's the Netherlands side. Oh, aye. There's one other thing as well, because I do rate him, and I think United should go for him now. I am surprised Matt O'Reilly is not in that Denmark squad.
Interesting.
I don't understand why he's not being called up, even though he plays for a bunch of shit, like a shit club anyway.
Doesn't
I
play for
don't-
Rangers.
No, he plays for Celtic, shit club.
Exactly. Doesn't play for Rangers.
Like I said, he plays for a shit club, he plays for Celtic. Especially a delusional manager who thinks they'd finish in the top 6.
Unbelievable.
I
Right,
like
Netherlands-
Celtic, hate the manager.
Netherlands squad for Euro 2024. Gakpo, Malen, Weghorst, Brobbey, Bergwijn, Depay. Midfield, Koopmeiners, Gravenberch, De Jong, Reijnders, Simmons, Veerman, Schutten, Wijnaldum. Yeah, that sums up my point. Yeah.
Wijnaldum.
So I'm looking at their final team. If I was so if I was the Dutch coach Koeman, I'd play Verbruggen as in goal. I'd play Frimpong and Nathan Ake as my fullbacks. Mickey van de Ven and Van Dijk at centre back. Then I'd play, like I said, I'd play Koopmeiners and Reijnders in the pivot role, but I'd give Koopmeiners a little bit more physical, so I'd let him be the more defensive side and let Reijnders be the playmaker, because he'd done that really well for Milan and he'd done that well at Feyenoord. Xavi Simons in the 10 role. Then I'd play... Wait, is Xerxes not in their squad? If he's not in their squad, that is delusional. But if he is end up in... I don't know why he's not listed there. Is Xerxes in the squad? 2 seconds, just want to double check. Surely he's in the squad.
Mm-hmm.
If he's not, then I'm shocked. No, he's not. Okay, one of Bologna's best players isn't even in the squad. Okay, so I would play...
Ridiculous.
On the shout then, I'd play Bergwijn on the right, Depay off the left, because I don't like him playing through the middle, and I'd play Broby up front, because Weghorst is wank, and I don't rate Malin. I don't think Malin's that good. I think he's genuinely overrated by that flaming weird fan base, and Bergwijn's just decent. That's what we should do before we get to the Euros. We try to predict the lineups for like the favourites.
Yeah.
And then we see how close we get.
Yeah, what I reckon we should do is when we do our Euro prediction stream, go through the main squads and be like, right, this is what we reckon. Like Germany's, England's, sadly.
Yeah.
Italians, the French, the Dutch.
And then we pick like a random team. Like, or then we still pick like
Well,
so
we're going to have to do
Italy.
Scotland, obviously, aren't we?
We'll do Scotland, we'll do Italy, we'll do Germany, England, France, Portugal, Spain, Belgium. We'll do Albania.
Yep.
To a degree. And we'll do a random like Sweden. Because they're interesting as well for the tournament.
Sweden's
they're quite interesting. Yeah. And fuck Switzerland. We're not doing them. Could do Austria, actually, that'd be fun. And we'll see how close we get to the actual tournament, or how they line up. We'll see how close we get. But that'll be fun. I think the hardest will probably be Germany or France.
For me, it's going to be Germany. I think France at the moment, with the way they've been playing the last couple of tournaments, writes itself.
Yeah. Whereas Germany have really changed up in the friendlies recently, especially winning games. They've really changed up. I think we might be able to get okay with them.
Yeah.
But Nagelsmann, you've got to stick with Ter Stegen in goal. As much as I love Neuer, you've got to stick with Ter Stegen. I think Nagelsmann's comments that Neuer is still his number one is wrong. He's not there anymore. It needs to be Ter Stegen.
Yeah.
It has to be. But we'll find out, because they play Ukraine on the 3rd of June, then they play Greece. They play obviously the games are at home anyway. Ukraine, Greece, then they play Scotland obviously in the opener. I'll be at SmackDown for that, so I'm actually missing the game.
God, I can't believe how quick that's come around.
Yeah.
Nuts. Yeah, aside from that, if anyone else has any other parting comments, I think we'll wrap up here. But everyone's absolutely smashed it tonight. Got 9 viewers in here. Thanks so much for dropping in, guys. It's much appreciated. Guys, lads, parting comments.
Good night. Have a good one. And see you soon.
Yes.
very fun show. I've enjoyed it, and there's more to come. Thanks all for watching tonight. It's been class.
Oh, absolutely. Like, comment, subscribe. Do what you can to support the channel. Follow us on Spotify. Much appreciated. And aside from
Maresca's a
that,
great deal.
mhm,
5-year deal for Maresca has just been confirmed.
absolutely shocking. I can smell a sacking, just like I can predict the playoffs with Leeds. But aside from that, Euros are coming up. We're going to smash out the content. Just wait till you see what's coming. Have a good one, guys. Enjoy.
Live on YouTube. And listen back on Spotify. This is the World of Football podcast.